It's a beautiful December afternoon in the Music City for the Tennessee Volunteers and the Vanderbilt Commodores on SEC Network. With Don Davenport and Matt Stinchcomb, I'm Taylor Zarzer. It's the 114th meeting between the Vols and the Vanderbilt Commodores. It's the first in December since 1990. UT won last year, but Vandy had won 3 in a row prior to that. Stinch, both teams have struggled mightily on offense this year. How do the Vols get going when they get the football?
How about a steady diet of Eric Gray here this afternoon? And not just as a ball carrier, although he's been very capable in that capacity, but as a receiver as well, the leading pass catcher for this Tennessee offense. I think number 3, who had a huge game for the Vols versus Vanderbilt last year, he needs to have a big afternoon to get the Volunteer offense jump-started.
He's going to have to wait a minute because Vandy won the toss and elected to receive. You see Cam Johnson waiting just inside his end zone for Paxton Brooks to kick off. Paxton has been the kickoff specialist for the Vols the last couple of years, and that's all he'll do again today. Although Brent Samaglia is not here, opted out, meaning Toby Wilson will make his debut when Tennessee needs to kick extra points and field goals. Sarah Fuller is active for the Commodores as well. Ken Seals, the true freshman quarterback, will bring the Vanderbilt Commodores out on the football field. True freshman has gone all season, Stinch.
Set some records for Vanderbilt as a passer. Certainly needs to regroup. Last time out versus Missouri, only 11 completions, 79 yards. And they ended up making a change, put Mike Wright, another true freshman, in there to see if they could get something going offensively. Needs to get back on track in this one.
Well, you mentioned Eric Gray. I would think that we'd see this guy a bunch today, too. Keon Henry Brooks, a sophomore from Powder Springs, Georgia. He's been the featured back all season for the Commodores.
He's a really talented football player. He needs to build out that body. You can see kind of slightly built, but a good runner, also an excellent receiver, very prominent in the Vanderbilt passing offense as well. 135 all-purpose yards a game.
He ran for 70 against Tennessee last year. He's going to lose a handful here as Henry To'o just about took the snap from Henry Brooks.
We talked to Jeremy Pruitt and we asked, on your defense, who's playing great football, championship caliber football? He didn't hesitate. It's number 11. See, it's second in the SEC with 9.5 tackles for loss. Tack on another one with that negative yardage play on Henry Brooks to set up this 3rd and long.
A loss of 4 for Vandy. Seals across the middle of the field, 3rd and 11, incomplete as he was looking for his tight end, Ben Bresnahan, and it's a 3 and out for Vandy on their first possession.
And he was marked by Bryce Thompson, a guy that we thought we might not see in this game. Hampered a little bit by a hamstring injury and a short-handed Tennessee secondary.
Harrison Smith, the punter for Vanderbilt, to kick it away to Eric Gray. Gray calls for a fair catch at his own 31-yard line to the field, and Don Davenport.
Yeah, let's talk Tennessee quarterback. All 4 quarterbacks did make the trip. They will be on the sideline today, but we expect to see Harrison Bailey, the freshman, will get first reps. We will see JT Shrout as well today. Coach Pruitt said that Harrison Bailey has showed a lot of poise and that both of them have done well in practice, which is why you're going to see both quarterbacks today. Guys, not a set rotation for these guys, just more of a feel for the Tennessee staff and when we will see both of them.
Thank you, Dawn, and we'll be watching that all day, just like you will, as Harrison Bailey will get the first crack at it. There was a penalty on Tennessee on that return, a holding penalty that today's referee, Mark Pearls, called just a moment ago. Bailey, the true freshman from Marietta, Georgia, made his first career start last week, played the final 2 drives against Auburn in the game before that, is in shotgun from his own 21. He throws the wheel to Velus Jones, and Velus gets a yard. Nice open field tackle made by the Commodores there. It's Jalen Mahoney. We mentioned the freshman from Marietta, Georgia, just one of 4 quarterbacks in Georgia high school history to throw for over 11,000 yards, leading Marietta to a high school state championship last year, choosing the Vols over the Tide, the Tigers, and the Gators. And that's what he did last week, most of which were underneath throws for Tennessee. Gabe Judy Lally makes the tackle after a short gain for Tennessee. And that'll set up third down.
Yeah, they're gonna protect Harrison Bailey. You can tell, Taylor, already the first 2 plays, they're just throws to the sideline. Get the ball to Velus Jones, Jalen Hyatt. See if you can't allow them to make a play after they've made the reception. But now facing a third and a full 10 yards, you're gonna have to push the football downfield.
Yeah, loss of 1 for Hyatt on that catch. Now on the 3rd and 10, that's a strike right near the marker to Josh Palmer. It is 4th down as he'll be marked shy.
Well, you nailed it. I mean, he caught it right there at the marker, but then lost ground, went back upfield. You see Palmer, he's like, I can't believe it, that I would not have had the yardage needed. Bailey threw a strike, but it wasn't enough by the time he made the play. And credit Judy Lally for a sure tackle to deny the yardage needed.
Paxton Brooks with a 42-yard average on the season. That fake punt last week that didn't work out for the Vols. This is a perfect punt, goes down the sidelines. And it'll be marked out at the 12, where the Doors will get it back after a 58-yard punt by the junior from Lexington, South Carolina. No score in Nashville. Cool Vandy helmets today with that city skyline on the back of the helmets. There's Todd Fitch, the interim head coach. This is the first time he's ever been a head coach in 34 years of coaching. Played defensive back at Ohio Wesleyan in the mid-'80s. Was a coach for Lou Holtz at South Carolina, working with the quarterbacks and the wide receivers. The OC for Lou's son Skip at Louisiana Tech, and he was the offensive coordinator for Derek Mason until Mason was relieved of his duties 2 weeks ago. Pumped to finally get an opportunity calling the plays for Ken Seals. And he calls a passing play here. Seals has nothing down the field and wisely throws it away.
Yeah, Coach Fitch had to wait an extra week. Thought he was going to be a head coach last week, at least on the game field anyway, versus Georgia. A late scratch about noon on Friday, and they were disappointed not to get that game in. Obviously very eager to get into this rivalry game, one that Vanderbilt has enjoyed some success versus the Vols in recent years.
Give John Mincy the pressure for Tennessee there, and on this 2nd and 10, a delay handoff to Brooks, who avoids the first pressure. Tyler Barron makes the tackle. It'll be 3rd down.
Tyler Barron, a guy, true freshman for Tennessee defensively. They know that he's had to step up. The linebacking core is what stood out to the Vanderbilt coaching staff. They felt as if Tennessee, at their second level, they had some good playmakers. Obviously, that starts and stops with number 11, Henry To'oTo'o, who's lined up in coverage in the slot at the bottom of your screen.
3rd and 8, 5 wide for Seals. Nothing doing, gets rid of it and throws it into the UT bench. It's another 3 and out.
You go play action on 1st down. Nothing develops downfield. You end up getting pressure. Seals throws it away. You try to pop a delay handoff on 2nd down. Great job staying at home by the Tennessee defense. And on 3rd down, good pressure from a defensive unit that isn't very consistent in that area to affect Ken Seals as a passer. And as you pointed out, a quick offensive possession for the Commodores.
Got a yard the first time or lost a yard the first time, got a yard this time. So no total yards in 2 drives as Gray comes up to field that punch that punt dangerously in Vanderbilt territory, Vols will have very good field position. Well, we mentioned that Harrison Bailey from the great state of Georgia, these are the only guys that threw for more yards in your home state, Stinch.
Wow, yeah, that's pretty heady company, wouldn't you say? You got a guy in there won a national title. Got another guy that's a Heisman candidate, of course, likely #1 overall pick. And then another that won a conference championship.
Ty Chandler straight up the gut. And Chandler will get a few yards playing in his final Tennessee Vanderbilt game if he chooses to go ahead and graduate. Of course, you can get another year of eligibility this year given the circumstances. Played his high school football just down the street at Montgomery Bell Academy. It's a pickup of 5.
A couple new faces up front for Tennessee. Cooper Mays making his second start. His brother Cade Mays unavailable at right guard. Jerome Carvin this game.
Right at him again, and Chandler is near a first down. And to your point, Cooper, Cade's little brother at center, and Jerome Carvin, who's been a backup at center and at right guard, is getting the start at right guard today.
Kind of had to reshuffle all season, really. Cade Mays was able to start 7 straight there at right guard, got eligibility, transferred from Georgia, rolled his ankle. So they've got to have a kind of reshuffle again up front. No Brandon Kennedy, obviously, at center, hence Cooper Mays getting the start.
It is 3rd and 1 as they mark them short. Play action. Bailey in trouble, eludes the pressure. And it'll be whistled right near the marker. It is a first down.
Harrison Bailey just kind of pinballing around back there. And once again, we talk about pressure, that time by Andre Mintz, leader of the Commodore defense. No Dio Odangbo, who opted out here late in the season after the Missouri loss. Mintz got the pressure, but Bailey heady enough to get upfield to get the conversion.
On 1st and 10, it's Eric Gray with his first carry of the game after 246 yards last year. He gets his first carry today. Down to the field and done.
Guys, Coach Todd Fitch raved about the leadership of Andre Mintz, the way he works, shows up every day, even after his close teammates opting out and were done for the year. One of his teammates told me that he's the most driven person he's ever been around. He'll graduate in May with his 3rd degree. How about that? Runs his own YouTube channel, raised $60,000 for charity. He is a true Vanderbilt man, does it all.
He is, and he's so well respected by everybody in the Vanderbilt football program. Gray very close to a first, but short, and then more pressure, this time by Cameron Tidd, who is in the backfield greeting Gray. But it is a first down.
It was a great play, or started out that way by Cameron Tidd, who had a career game last year versus Tennessee with 9 tackles. That time just not quite enough when you're as efficient as Tennessee has been on first down. The Eric Gray run setting up an easy conversion on 2nd.
6th play of the drive. Gray just about had his helmet taken off there as he was greeted by a couple of Vandy defenders. Drew Birchmeyer, originally a defensive lineman, switched to offensive line, and because Vandy can't even fill out a 2-deep stench on defense, back to the defensive line.
How about that clothesline by Birchmeyer? That's a pretty good tackle for a right guard.
Just a pickup of 1. On the 7th play of the drive as Tennessee's now in the Vanderbilt red zone. Bayless Jones makes a defender miss. 1st and goal, Volunteers.
When you look at the big playmaking ability in this Tennessee offense, it's #1 that has generated the most. He's had 12 plays of 20-plus yards. Not a lot of downfield shots for a speed guy, but they have other ways of getting him touches. A lot of fly sweeps, a lot of swing passes when they blow him through the backfield on a short motion.
Chandler pulling offensive lineman, and he gets near the 5-yard line. It'll be 2nd and goal from there. Tennessee has moved the football consistently in the first half this season. As we continue, you'll see their struggles have been numerous once they get past halftime. But look at this. In the red zone this year, Tennessee has only made 11 trips during this 6-game losing streak. And on 2nd and goal, fake, touchdown, wide open is Princeton Fant.
The number 88, Princeton Fant, touchdown.
They opened the game passing. 3 straight passes, you punt the football away, you come out here in the second possession, and you say, forget it, let's get this ground game going, get Ty Chandler going a little bit, Eric Gray. Finally able to stab one in there off a play action to Fant for the first score.
And this is Toby Wilson making his Tennessee debut. A sophomore from Brentwood, Tennessee, just down the street from where he grew up. Makes it 7-0. It's a 9-play, 42-yard drive that took almost 5 minutes, and it culminates with the first touchdown reception for another Nashville guy, Princeton Fant.
Something to believe. ESPN, home of the college football playoff, coming New Year's Day.
I love when those two games host the semifinals. Here's Bill Hancock, the executive director of the college football playoff, saying, quote, we're looking forward to the semifinals January 1st and the championship game January 11th and planning for them. We are being meticulous and we are confident we'll be ready. Semifinals on January 1st, as you saw in the national championship game down in Miami. It is going to be tough to beat the Tide 52-3.
Wow.
They won in Fayetteville today.
Yeah, their biggest difficulty is going to figure out who they want to push the hardest for the Heisman Trophy, because they've got 3 guys that are legitimate candidates on that offense.
Devontae Smith's now taking punts back to the house. Here's your calendar in December. Bowl game blitz for us again. Conference championship weekend next weekend. The CFP selection show will be on Sunday. Those New Year's Day games for the semis on the 1st. Heisman Trophy presentation on a different date this year on the 5th. And then that national championship game is on the 11th. Certainly want to highlight all of the other bowl games on the ESPN family of networks that we're excited to participate in. Let's see if Ken Seals can get something going for Vanderbilt on offense. No yards on 6 plays. And he hands it off to Henry Brooks, maybe half a yard.
He's the guy they got to get going, there's no doubt. I mean, they've had contributions in the passing game, but it really has been Henry Brooks that consistent all season long, outside of the first 2 games that he missed. He has really come on this season. They need to get that ground game going so that the play action will mean something for this ball defense.
2nd and 10, Tennessee shows pressure, and it's incomplete. Nice coverage there by Theo Jackson, as Seals was looking for Chris Pierce. It's 3rd down.
One of his favorite targets, second only to number 7, Cam Johnson, is Chris Pierce, who's really come on. 5 touchdowns in the last 5 ball games. But as you mentioned, Theo Jackson, excellent coverage, and so far, the Tennessee secondary has held up very well versus some of the downfield targets.
Over the middle, complete first down throw to Cam Johnson. That's his 50th grab of the season, and it's a big one.
The last 5 games, he had 40 catches. Had 5 catches the last time out versus Missouri, one of their favorite targets in the passing game.
Back to the ground, and Henry Brooks with a flag down. There's Mark Curls.
Substitution infraction. The 12th player did not get off the field on the defense. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay first down.
Smart move there by Todd Fitch, the offensive coordinator / head coach, and Ken Seals to get that play called quickly.
Yeah, see him running off right there on the 40, no doubt. Great job by the official. Line judge there drops his flag, didn't get off the field. As you mentioned, Taylor, nice heads-up play by the true freshman to get that ball snapped and catch the Vols with an extra player.
Seals across the middle in stride. The catch is made by Chris Pierce, and Vandy's in business.
Nice rhythm throw as you see a flag coming in there late. Right at the end of that scrum. Everybody was arriving to try to help Chris Pierce maybe pick up some more yards towards the end of that run after catch. Check the flag.
After the play was over, personal foul number 63 offense. 15-yard penalty. It will still be 1st and 10.
So it's a 34-yard completion to Chris Pierce, but let's watch Grant Miller here, the center at the end of the play.
Pierce has stood up pretty good. Yeah, I don't know. I'll tell you what, if you're going to run all the way down there, get your money's worth, man, especially if you're going to do it right in front of the official.
A little love tap to Alante Taylor. Henry Brooks greeted by a handful of Vols. Doesn't get much. Latrell Bumpus and friends were in there on the play. Brought Garland too. It's a pickup of 1.
So far, not a lot of running room tackle to tackle for the Commodore offense.
No rushing yards. Completion near the 30-yard line is made by Johnson. Tackled by Trayvon Flowers. It'll be 3rd down.
Nice poise that time by Ken Seals. They had a free runner, a blitzer that was not picked up in the protection scheme. Seals stood in there, threw a strike to make this a 3rd and manageable.
See if this is 2-down territory on the 3rd and 3. Henry Brooks makes a couple of men miss and dives right at the marker.
See where he
and
gets
they
his
say
spot.
1st down.
Yeah. You know, he extended that football, had the ball in his outside arm, and he extended it right as he was going down. Watch Brooks, is he able to get out there and extended that football, bounced out of his possession, but not before he picked up the first. Nice effort that time by Henry Brooks.
Half of the arm looked like it was over that imaginary yellow line. 1st and 10. Seals under pressure, throws away to the sideline, 2nd down.
And the Vols got a pretty good pass rusher in number 13, DeAndre Johnson. And he's gotten a nice jump a couple of times, and it's been enough to bend the edge and force Ken Seals to flush out of the pocket. Something that Todd Fitch talked about, that he wants his pocket awareness to improve, wants him to climb up into the pocket versus escaping and trying to get outside of the pocket.
9th play of the drive. Seals gets rid of it quickly to Johnson as he sees pressure coming. It'll be 3rd down. Tamarian McDonald on that safety blitz.
And another free runner. Ken Seals demonstrating a great deal of poise under duress. He has not had a lot of opportunities to set his feet cleanly and deliver the football, oftentimes having to avoid pressure.
And again, Stinch, I wonder, it's 3rd and 4. Is this 2-down territory, or would Pearson Cook or Sarah Fuller come into the game? 3rd and 4, Mitchell Pryor is stood up. He's going to be short, and we'll see what Coach Fitch decides to do on 4th down.
Well, on the 3rd and 3, as you pointed out, as you were questioning, is it 4-down territory? It definitely is. 3rd and 3, they hand it off to Henry Brooks. That time, pop another handoff.
again to Pryor, and it's a first down run for the junior from Connecticut.
Back handoffs to Pryor. So you get a defense, you've been able to establish a drive, and back-to-back runs. That time it was a 3rd and 4, a little bit of a longer distance, didn't gain much. They come right back with Pryor to get the conversion.
Twelfth play of the drive. Over the middle, wide open. Touchdown, Cam Johnson. One of the best looking drives for Ken Seals all season. And here comes Sarah Fuller onto the field. Now last week, 2 weeks ago rather, she made history as the first female to ever kick off at the Power 5 level. Now she can be the first to make an extra point at the Power 5 level. Right through there. More history on display for the Vanderbilt Commodores and Sarah Fuller.
How about that celebration with their teammates? No longer just a one and done, right? She's part of this football team.
You see the Fuller family. What a moment for Sarah and her family. Great kickoff 2 weeks ago in Como. Now an extra point. She's on the board. Sarah Fuller made history in Columbia, Missouri 2 weeks ago when she became the first female at the Power 5 level to ever kick off in a game. Now she's the first to score a point. She helped her Vanderbilt women's soccer team win an SEC championship 3 weeks ago, called by then football coach Derek Mason to come kick for the Commodores, and she's become a member of the team. Her teammate Pearson Cook kicks it into the end zone as he's back from injury. Perfect kick right down the heart. Terrific warm-up session for Sarah as well. Nice hold by Harrison Smith, and you see the entire Fuller family going crazy. Teammates come over to high-five her. And as you said, Stinch, that's what's been so cool to watch, her becoming a member of this team in the last couple of weeks. Harrison Bailey in Tennessee back on offense, going to work, and wide open is Jalen Hyatt down the sideline for a big game. For more on Sarah Fuller, let's go down to Dawn.
Yeah, you guys talking about her becoming a teammate here lately. You can feel that down here on the sideline. A lot of high fives on this sideline for her. You can see the team was pulling for her. What stood out to me when we talked to Coach Fitch was he said, what stands out to me the last 2 weeks is the normalcy of all of it. She was just one of the guys fitting in. They treat her as an athlete. That's exactly all that she wanted too.
See how much she loves it too. She doesn't love what just happened to her defense, though. 26-yard pickup by the true freshman Hyatt, and Bailey's ready to go to work again, and he finds Josh Palmer inside the 35-yard line. 2 plays, 51-yard Stinch in the passing game.
Yeah, how about Tennessee now? Stretching the ball downfield. We saw a lot of the perimeter passing game, the last drive that resulted in a score, jump-started by the ground game. But now they open things up right at the beginning of this possession, pushing the football downfield, first to Hyatt, now a downfield strike to Palmer.
Bailey's been terrific, 7 of 7, 67 yards passing. And he'll go to the air again. Nothing doing down the field, keeps it himself. Like he might have lost that football momentarily, but he did get it back as he takes the hit from Anthony Orgy, who, by the way, will take an exam tonight. Orgy with 4 tackles in the first quarter. He's got a computer and engineering exam tonight.
That's what gets kind of lost, I guess, in the calendar. And where we are right now is usually the regular season's over. You're playing conference championships. Vanderbilt, they had to reschedule everything this week. Their guys have had final exams all week.
Brian Maurer comes in, Stinch, on the last play of the first quarter, and Maurer takes off near the 10-yard line. He's been the running specialist for Tennessee, and he has the Vols in business as we go to the second.
Congratulations on making history, Sarah. Best of luck this weekend against Tennessee. I know the entire women's national team is rooting for you.
It's amazing to see the impact that she's had. Sarah scoring the first point by a female at the Power 5 and the SEC level. Just a few minutes ago, Alyssa Nair, the goalkeeper for the U.S. women's national soccer team. You see the Fuller family reacting, and then but the center judge comes over to give Alyssa the football. Hey, Sarah, take this. Chris Gardner, cool moment. Tennessee on the doorstep trying to take the lead here. Eric Gray on the direct snap is inside the 10. Vols will have it down at the 8-yard line. Stinch, has been an impressive response by Tennessee on offense.
No, it came right back. I mean, you hit the 2 shots downfield in the passing game. Now you get down in the red zone, and we've already pointed out the difficulties Tennessee has had not only getting to this portion of the field, but capitalizing 1 for 1 so far here this afternoon in the red zone, and an opportunity to punch it in again.
Bailey hit as he throws, and the ball is still a live ball. We haven't heard a whistle yet, as that's picked up by Cameron Tidd, who will be whistled down at the 26-yard line. Now the officials will see if Bailey's arm was going forward when Andre Mintz made contact with Bailey.
Just got done talking about the red zone difficulties. So Mintz just working off the edge, and does Harrison Bailey throw an empty hand? When his hand moves forward, is there a ball in it? And it's tough to see from that angle. Although the ball did look as if it moved forward. But watch Mintz. Wow. That's really hard to tell. Is that ball already out as Harrison Bailey goes to throw the ball forward? That look at it, to me, looked as if he still had the ball just for a moment as his hand was moving forward. I mean, you talk to officials, they say that's kind of the phrasing. The word picture is he throwing an empty hand? When that hand starts to go forward, is the ball still in it? As you mentioned, Taylor, no whistle. That ball was at least allowed to remain live.
For the review, the ruling on the field stands. First down.
I have to say, Stinch, I think that's what I would have said too if I was peeking under the hood there. The play stands. It's not overturned. It stands. There's not enough evidence to change the call. And when you have the ultimate judgment call like that, why blow the whistle? That's what the officials decided, and Vanderbilt gets the first turnover of the game.
Yeah, I could not agree more. You're afforded the opportunity to review a play like that. Take advantage of it. What a huge turn of events by the Commodore defense.
Ball's been coming after Seals. He's been picking up those blitzes, and he throws a perfect dime to Amir Abdur-Rahman, who carries Alante Taylor with him inside the 30-yard line.
Ken Seals and his poise, that's what stood out to me in this game. As you see, Abdur-Rahman, he wins inside and gets on top of Taylor. And then Taylor's just steer wrestling him for the next 10 yards.
Henry Brooks will get a couple. Watch Seals pick up this blitz again, Stench.
He's got another free runner. I mean, it's just he's done such an excellent job of being patient because they've had blitzers, either more than they can handle or a bust in the protection scheme. And repeatedly, the true freshman in Ken Seals has stood in there and delivered accurate passes, that time downfield for a big gain.
Here comes To'o again, met at the line of scrimmage by Vanderbilt offensive lineman as Henry Brooks does not get much.
Well, it's clear what the Tennessee defense strategy is. Even on rundowns, early downs, they are rundown blitzing the line of scrimmage. That time, Jeremy Banks meeting Henry Brooks at the line of scrimmage. Nearly no rushing yards. See if the Vols bring pressure yet again on this third down.
3rd and 7, sets up the bubble, and it's going to get down to the 21 as Vols blew it up, but Chris Pierce got a little something out of it, and you would think again that Vander would go for it, but no. Here comes the kicking team, and we'll see who comes onto the field. It's Pearson Cook, who is the long field goal kicker. Sarah Fuller is the short field goal kicker today, Coach Fitch says. But this is a 39-yard attempt for the junior from Michigan. And it's right through there. Vandy takes the lead, 10-7, after Pearson Cook connects on the 39-yarder in Nashville. Wait, what, Scott?
Studio with your AT&T 5G studio update as we go out of the footprint. Coastal Carolina trying to wrap up an 11-0 regular season. CJ Marable into the end zone. Having a battle right now at Troy, but they lead by 5 at the break. Teaser.
Thanks, Dari. What a season for the Chanticleers. Vandy had no yards on their first 2 drives, and their last 2 drives, 128 yards, and they capitalize off of the turnover that Andre Mintz created for his teammates and take the lead on Tennessee, 10-7. That ball right near the out-of-bounds marker, and Tennessee will have it at the 25. Let's go down to the field and Dawn.
Hey, this Vandy defense amped up down here. Remember, they came in with just 8 scholarship players, but they also came in with a chip on their shoulder. I've heard it up and down this sideline this entire game. And the energy guy, the leader, Taylor Stinch, it's Andre Mintz.
He's making plays on the field, too. The fact that he was able to get that turnover, he's already generated a couple other plays as well. We talked about what he's meant to this program, and he's making his presence felt here.
And now there's the 3rd Tennessee quarterback we've seen today, and J.T. Shrout throws a strike to Hyatt, but he couldn't hold on to it. It's incomplete. Jeremy Pruitt sticking to his guns, switching quarterbacks as he's done the last couple of weeks. Bailey 7 for 7. Maurer at a 22-yard run. Here comes J.T. Shrout.
Maurer, after that run, was a little bit banged up. And, of course, J.T. Shrout played pretty well. Of course, it was towards the end of the game versus Florida. They got the last 2 possessions resulting in touchdowns. They love his arm. He can make all the throws. They actually like his downfield accuracy even better than Harrison Bailey. It's how he protects the football that concerns them.
To the ground, and Chandler, and the big tailback gets 4. It'll be 3rd and 6. Yeah, at the end of that game, we realized it was out of reach when Florida was up 31-7. But those 2 touchdown scores were 94 and 96-yard scoring drives for Shrout, the redshirt sophomore from California.
Yeah, they said he kept his head in it. He came in relief of Jarrett Garantano after a couple of interceptions, had 1 pass. He was intercepted as well. They said he kept grinding, kept working, and he's earned the opportunities to get some of these snaps.
Brandon Johnson in motion. throws to Johnson. Incomplete. So it's a 3 and out for Tennessee as you take a look at Jarrett Garantano, the fourth quarterback that made the trip over to Nashville. Not expected to play today. He's played in every game for Tennessee since November of 2017. Jeremy Pruitt raved about the teammate he has been through all the ups and downs, but won't play today.
You could see who JT Shrout went to over there, obviously with quarterbacks coach Chris Winkie.
Here's another fake, again, just like last week, and it's a first down to Hyatt, who stays in bounds down the sideline. Make that To'o, dueling 11s, and it's Henry To'o going nuts.
How about the call? Looked like it was going to be a rugby-style kick. They just leaked To'o out there. Looked like he was working to the right side of that punt formation. Great job. They sold it initially. That first step or two, just enough to lull the receiving team to sleep. And Henry To'o, not just making plays on defense, but setting up his offense with a fresh set of downs.
31-yard completion, and now some trickeration here on an end around, and it's blown up as the tackle is made by the Commodores, Jalen Mahoney. That was Kenny Solomon on the reverse, losing yardage.
A nice play by Mahoney. And of course, a key one at that. You want to stop the bleeding as fast as you possibly can. That was just as good as a turnover, the fake punt. You think you're getting the ball back for your offense, you find yourself out there defending the field again.
Now 2nd and 9, Shrout drifting way back and throws it incomplete. He was looking for Cedric Tillman. It'll be 3rd down, Cameron Tidd in the backfield with Shrout. Back to that fake punt snitch. Paxton Brooks threw a perfect pass to Jimmy Holiday last week that Holiday dropped, that would have given Tennessee terrific field position and really changed the momentum in the game. And Jeremy Pruitt goes to the bag of tricks again, says, Paxton, you threw a perfect ball last week. Let's try it again. Now Tennessee will try to pay it off on this 3rd and 9. Shrout loads up to the end zone. Incomplete into double coverage, looking for Josh Palmer. Nice coverage by Gabe Judy-Lally.
We've mentioned Gabe Judy-Lally a couple of times to open the game. Tennessee wanted to throw the football. Judy-Lally in on some passes defended, and that time does a great job of playing the ball right as it arrives to Palmer. And we've seen Palmer. He has been a target downfield in the passing game for Tennessee repeatedly this season. That time incapable of coming up with the throw from JT Shrout, and another big stop by the Commodore defense on the heels of the fake punt.
Will Paxton use his arm or his leg? Try to pin the Commodores deep. Takes a Vandy bounce out of bounds, marked out at the 10-yard line. Commodores get it back with the lead in the 2nd quarter. We got more college football after this at 7:30 on SEC Network. It's our Saturday night matchup between Auburn and Mississippi State. Gus Malzahn's first game as Auburn's head coach was against Mike Leach when Leach was at Wazoo. So now the Gus Bus against the Pirate tonight in Stark Vegas. Then after that, at 10:30 Eastern, tune in for SEC Football Final. Join Dari, CD, and Roman as they break down all the action from this weekend. It's SEC Football Final right here on SEC Network and the ESPN app. Ken Seals played well the last couple of drives. He's thrown for 128 yards and a touchdown. As Commodores have the lead with 9:40 remaining in the 2nd quarter. Henry Brooks has struggled to get going, and he only gets a yard, maybe 2. Jeremy Pruitt, known for his defensive prowess throughout his career as an assistant coach, has struggled as a head coach. He's 15-18 in his 3rd year, had an 8-game winning streak through the first 2 games of this season, but he's lost 6 consecutive games, which has only happened one other time in school history in 1988. The program has never dropped 7 in a row. 2nd and 8. Short pass to Johnson. Nice tackle there made by McCullough.
Yeah, when you look at it, you know, what marks the Jeremy Pruitt era, I think, has been the quarterback position, instability in and around that offense, and an inability to establish some consistency on that side of the football.
3rd and 4 picked off. Stepping in front is Bryce Thompson. Touchdown. And Thompson goes and leans up against the side of Vanderbilt Stadium. The junior from Irmo, South Carolina, was questionable coming in with hamstring issues. There's nothing wrong with his hand, Stinch.
This is a great grab. Look at that. And it looks like Cam Johnson, I don't know if he just quit on the route, was turned around as to where Ken Seals was going to go with this football. And Bryce Thompson, eyes on the quarterback, broke on that football and just stabbed it out of the air with his left hand. What a great play. And couldn't have come at a better time. His offense was stagnating.
Toby Wilson with the extra point, as now the Vols suddenly have all the momentum thanks to the junior with his 2nd interception of the season, giving the Volunteers the lead again in Nashville.
Well, I was wondering what happened with Cam Johnson on the route, and he's going to try to pivot out, but see that handful of jersey that Bryce Thompson has? That left arm just pulls Johnson off balance and catapults Thompson in front of that throw. Still a really athletic catch, but got away with quite a tug. And look, you can see Ken Seals is like, wait a minute. What a defensive holding right there. My guy couldn't even come out of the route. The defender had a handful of jersey and then used my receiver to get in front of the pass.
Johnson from the goal line doesn't make it back to the 20. And Bryce Thompson out there on the field again, juiced up now that his Volunteers have the lead. Nobody saw him grab with his left arm. Then he used that left arm for his first career pick 6. How about his 8th of his career? Seals was hot too, Stinch, before that pick.
Yes, he was. We were talking about just how poised he'd been. That'll be interesting to see. We've seen this before. Will he allow a negative play like that to rattle him going forward?
Tennessee has been loading the box play after play. Jalen McCullough was there in the backfield, 2nd down.
Just nowhere to run on the ground for the Commodores. Henry Brooks has not been able to get going. They were able to punch a couple of short yardage runs in there with Mitchell Pryor, but the run game has not helped Ken Seals so far in this game.
9 carries, 8 yards for Keon. Drifting back, throws it to Henry Brooks, and he'll get a couple as McCullough is there again, 3rd down.
Vanderbilt's tried to pop a couple of screens. They had one set up early. It looked like it could have made it. It was a great job by the Tennessee defensive front of retracing, rushing the passer and then coming back in coverage. That time back-to-back plays by Jalen McCullough. One in the offensive backfield and then again in the open field on the screen pass.
Johnson going in motion. Seals under heavy duress, loses the football. And it looks like Vanderbilt recovers it inside the 3-yard line. That was Bradley Ashmore saving an even bigger disaster.
And Henry To'o ends up forcing this fumble. He got there first. Actually, it ends up being caused by Matthew Butler, who jumped on the back of Ken Seals, and a heads-up play by Ashmore. That could have been a catastrophe. You just had a pick six. Vanderbilt can't get away from this end zone fast enough.
And Harrison Smith is in the very back of it. It's a pretty good punt that's fielded by Gray at the 47-yard line. Stays in bounds and is tackled at the 41. Tennessee fans have been riding the ups and downs in the last 14 games. During that 8-game winning streak, you see how many points they were scoring per game. Defense was much better. It's just across the board, Stinch. Better performance going into this season, but ever since week 3, it has been a disaster. It's Shrout still out there, and he throws a strike for 8 yards to Velus Jones.
Now look at that turnover margin. Outside of just the points allowed, they've kind of inverted. You went from scoring 30 to giving up 35 during this 6-game losing streak, but the turnover margin just destroying the Vols' aspirations.
Gray, first down run. Sophomore from Memphis went wild in this game last year, 246 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns, had a 94-yard house call, and a 56-yarder as well. Set a UT freshman record for yards rushing in a single game. He's out of the game. Shrout goes to the sideline. Velus Jones makes the catch and is marked out of bounds inside the 1.
Velus Jones lobbying to say, hey, I got it in there, working against Allen George. I don't know, he may have gotten that ball inside the pylon as he was falling out of bounds.
The ruling on the field of a catch is under further review.
He certainly thought so at his first touchdown catch as a Vol last week in the loss to Florida. Had a terrific 3-year career with USC. So he got his foot finished inside that pylon.
That's 6. I think not only is his foot finished inside the pylon, but he's got that ball in the right arm. It would have broken the plane before he would have been established out of bounds. That left foot, that's inbounds. That's a touchdown.
It's a touchdown. The receiver got the ball over the plane to the goal line.
Mr. Curls agrees with Mr. Stinchcomb. And that's consecutive weeks for Velus Jones in the end zone. Product from the greater Mobile, Alabama area, from Saraland. Connected to T. Martin, who hails from that same area, decided to come follow T from USC to UT. And suddenly, the Vols are up double digits. Toby Wilson makes it an 11-point lead with 5:41 to go in the second quarter. Vanderbilt was in control. Then suddenly the Tennessee defense started pressuring them, and the Vols have found the end zone on defense, now on offense.
It's halftime report right around the corner. Dorian Doring, Bama rolls, Georgia rolls in the first half. Tennessee taking advantage of mistakes.
Yeah, defense stepping up, putting the offense in some short field situations.
We will see you in a couple. Got it?
Yeah, Dari Citi's right. Third down plays, too, that have been costly for the Commodores. Velus Jones with the most recent touchdown catch for T. Good game for the 5th-year senior, who has a decision to make if he wants to come back for a 6th year next season. Let's talk about those third downs, Stinch. Vandy led 10-7 2 third downs ago for a pick 6, and then the last one was a fumble.
A short football field, the ultimate offensive drive with a defensive touchdown by Bryce Thompson, the tug, then the stab, then the 6, and then of course you get Henry Toe with the pressure. Ball comes out. Vandy scrambles to maintain possession, but then you're punting the football to midfield. Tennessee's starting field positions average their own 48. They've been playing on a 50-yard football field most of this game.
Seals threads the needle into pressure there. And that is a 7-yard pickup for Chris Pierce.
Can they settle Ken Seals down? We talked about it after the pick 6. Not easy to get your feet set and get your mind settled when you're running for your life and the ball's coming out.
Henry Brooks continues to run hard. Gets a couple. It's going to be 3rd and short. Jeremy Banks again on the tackle. Jeremy Pruitt very high on Banks in his future.
See 3rd and 1, Vandy quick to the line.
Brooks moves the pile following his center, Grant Miller. It's a 1st down for Vanderbilt.
Well, this is a surefire way to try to get Ken Seals settled down. Obviously, you want to move the sticks. Can you get the ground game going a little bit? They're able to at least get enough to get these conversions. Take the ball out of your quarterback's hands for a couple of snaps.
Don't see this very often anymore. Under center, and there's a reason for it. It's a flea flicker, but great pressure by the Volunteers, and Seals has to throw it away. We'll see if he's out of the pocket. It looks like a flag's going to come in.
This has been a problem for Ken Seals this year.
Intentional grounding, number 8 offense did not maintain control of the ball throughout the down. Gave up possession to another player and got it back. That's a loss of down at the spot of the foul. 2nd down.
As you can see on the flea flicker, and what Mark Curls is talking about there is he didn't maintain possession throughout. So now you don't get grounding protection. Even if they're saying he's outside of the pocket right here. So he gets this ball back, throws it, nobody in the vicinity. Counted as a sack and a 13-yard loss.
Darrell Middleton was not buying the trick play, and on 2nd and 23, they throw a little swing pass out to Henry Brooks. He picks up the yardage and then some. Tear at the jersey before he's out of bounds. Jalen McCullough is the one that forced him out.
Number 21 starting to come alive for the Vanderbilt offense, perhaps just in time. See if the Tennessee defense can force yet another punt on a 3rd and 7, minus territory. This isn't like what we saw earlier in the first half. We saw Vanderbilt going for it on 3rd and 4th.
Seals pumps, in pressure, throws it away, again from the pocket. Now, Tyrell Alexander was over there. 4th down. Jaquane Blakely with the pressure that time, and it's play-by-play, Stinch. Volunteers in Seals' face.
Constant. It's been constant. We talked about it earlier on in this half. As you see, look, defenders all over. I mean, you're getting sandwiched by 3 different guys. Got a little bit of a face massage as he threw that football away, did Blakely.
Smith with another punt that'll go to the Volunteer bench. That was off the side of Smith's foot. It's going to be a short punt. You see the official still walking all the way down the field. Just a 26-yard punt.
Academy Sports and Outdoors is making it even easier on you with in-store pickup. It's all new and basically means you go to academy.com, order whatever you need, and come get it in store. Get in, get out, get back to having fun with your family.
That official wasn't finished walking. He just took a little pause there, Stinch. It's a 16-yard punt.
And yet another great starting field position for the Tennessee offense near midfield.
Trout still in there. And it's a 1st down catch made by Valus Jones again. 4 different people have played quarterback. Now one of them is Paxton Brooks. He faked a punt and threw a 1st down to Henry Toto. Brian Maurer ran one for 22 yards. There's Maurer. He looks like he's in better spirits. Harrison Bailey started the game. all he did was go 7 for 7. And JT Shrout has played the last couple of series. 2nd and 2, ball deflected as Deshaun Jerkins got a hand on it. It's 3rd down.
See, there's Harrison Bailey, as you mentioned. You know, the only thing he did wrong was, I guess, not holding on to that football when he got hit. He was working to the left side of the formation. Pressure came from the right. Ball came out. Was ruled a fumble. Wouldn't necessarily say that was poor ball security by the quarterback. Shrout started out 0 for 4, but was ultimately able to get the balls in the end zone.
Jameer Johnson with an early start.
5-yard penalty, still 3rd down. Correction, number 63. Number 63.
Cooper Mays.
It's Cooper Mays.
Yeah, he had trouble with a snap infraction there.
See everybody else. Yeah, it looked like he was a little bit early. Then he slams on the brakes, but by then you're already leaning backwards. And drug that football on the turf there.
It's his 2nd game as a volunteer. His brother injured today. Shrout on 3rd and 7, loads up again. Bayless Jones can't make the catch as Allen George was in coverage. It's 4th down.
Time well protected and well defended. Allen George was in coverage on Bayless Jones on the touchdown catch. Watch 28 get his hand, that right arm, reach right around and bat that football down.
So here's Paxton Brooks again. With Cam Johnson waiting deep for it for Vanderbilt. And a perfect punt by Brooks. It's going to be marked out at the 4-yard line. Make sure to check out ESPN Plus, where you can read Wright Thompson's definitive story of Archie Manning, and just as important, the story of his family, including his grandson Arch, who is one of the most sought-after high school players in the country. ESPN Plus, you're home to more than 3,000 premium articles a year from ESPN's top writers. I love what Archie said to his grandson Arch. Arch was saying, hey, Red, he calls Archie Red, his granddad, you got any advice for how I play quarterback? He said, you gotta command the huddle. You gotta be the leader in the huddle. And Arch said, Red, we don't have huddles. 1st and 10, and it's a handoff by Henry Brooks, and he gets a couple where Darrell Middleton greets him.
Makes it all the more impressive if you can command a huddle that doesn't exist. That's next level leadership right there. If anybody can pull it off, it'd be one of those Manning boys, that's for sure. See if Vanderbilt can establish some bit of offensive drive here, if for nothing else, field position purposes. They have been on the short end of this football field.
Tennessee will get it to start the 2nd half. 2nd and 8. Henry Brooks gets the edge. And we'll get a few there to set up 3rd and manageable. Quavaris Crouch there in coverage.
You know, part of it, one of the things we talked about with Vanderbilt, they said, look, we got to sustain drives. We got to start stacking up 1st downs. They've been able to get 7 of them in this game. But right here, it is crucial. 2 minutes, 10 seconds. Your opponent's got 3 timeouts. They need to convert right here. Otherwise, Tennessee seeks to preserve clock. They could get excellent field position and another scoring opportunity before half.
Seals has it deflected at the line of scrimmage. Incomplete. To'o got a hand in there.
God, what a half of football for Henry To'o. Got the pressure earlier. This time it's just a short rollout. To'o almost picks this football off. Number 11 go up. Got both hands on the ball, batted it up in the air, and almost made the interception.
Smith with a good punt. Eric Gray will call for the fair catch at his own 44-yard line with 1:47 to go here in the first half. Busy day of SEC football on a day that originally wasn't scheduled to have any.
End of the kick. First down, Tennessee.
So late flag there, holding on Tennessee. So that'll move the balls back just a bit. But we have a couple of finals already. Georgia blows out Missouri. Alabama 52, Arkansas 3. LSU plays at Florida tonight. Auburn at Mississippi State. So 5 games made up today, if you will. Unfortunately, A&M and Ole Miss could not be played due to some COVID issues in Oxford. We'll have a handful of games next weekend too, including the SEC championship game between Alabama and Florida. JT Shroud on a 1st and 10. Seed across the middle to Palmer into Vanderbilt territory. It's a 20-yard pickup. There's next weekend, Stench. A&M still in the playoff picture, will be at noon. Bama in Florida at 8 o'clock. Shroud underneath pass to Hyatt. It'll be 2nd down. Mahoney made the tackle. What do you think about next weekend in Atlanta between the Gators and the Tide?
I was just about to say, it's so strange. You got wedged amongst all those games, an SEC championship game, Florida, Alabama. How fun will that be? Those two offenses squaring off.
That may last past midnight. Shroud under pressure, and a flag's going to come in. It's going to be a face mask. Looks like Anthony Orgy, maybe.
Personal foul, face mask, number 26. Defense, 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
Right as Shroud starts to escape, you see Orgy kind of retracing upfield. Yeah, handful. Pulls him down, makes the tackle by his face mask.
Vandy had the lead midway through this quarter, Stench, but they have imploded since.
Of course, Tennessee getting that ball first in the 3rd quarter as well. Crucial that the Commodores deny a score here.
Tackle in the backfield after Gray doesn't get much.
Trying to pop a run there. You're expecting, you think the defense could be dropping in coverage. Guys are thinking pass rush. Tennessee takes that time out, but they're just trying to squeak Eric Gray up through the middle of that defensive front. JT Shroud coming in there, and I guess somewhat relief, of Harrison Bailey, who started out 7 for 7. Had the strip in the pocket, and it's been JT Shroud ever since.
Let's see, you got 1, 2, 3, well, you got 4 quarterbacks in there if we're going to include the Heisman Trophy winner, Chris Winkie.
Right. Yeah, zoom out enough, surely T. Martin might be around somewhere.
Right. Yeah, Maurer's over there somewhere too.
Of course, Paxton Brooks probably was just outside of the shot. Another passer for the Vols.
Need an itinerary if you're a UT fan to know which quarterback is playing when. There's Shroud again, throwing another bullet, and it's a touchdown strike to Jalen Hyatt.
Well, if you're wearing number 11,
he's got a cannon for an arm.
That's right. He shot it right in there. So here's Hyatt. Not to be outdone by the other number 11 as far as pass receptions are concerned. Now he's in the end zone. Go there and visit with Henry To'oTo'o. Talk about what it means to wear number 11 on your jersey.
Wilson's been perfect in his first game as a volunteer kicker. Stand Up Dutch Fork High School in Irmo, South Carolina. Bryce Thompson with a pick six earlier in the quarter. And now Jalen Hyatt, also from that same school, later in the quarter with his second touchdown of the season.
You see the speed. There's no doubt the coaches are really excited about the youth that they have, especially in the skill positions. And Jalen Hyatt's one of those guys. Jeremy Pruitt said, look, we knew we were going to be young at receiver. We needed to develop. And then COVID kind of derailed a lot of that. You could see them coming on here late in the season. J.D. Shrout, 50%, 6 of 12. But he's been able to engineer a couple of scoring drives, and you can't emphasize it enough. The field position that Tennessee has enjoyed this entire half, plus a pick six. And that has been the difference here in the first half. As we mentioned, Vanderbilt looked as if they were in control of the football game prior to Bryce Thompson ending up in the end zone going the other direction.
Yeah, 21 unanswered since that play. So Vandy has 44 seconds. They do have all three of their timeouts. As they're 0-8 on the year. Derek Mason coaching them through the first 8 games of the season, relieved of his duties after the Missouri game. Todd Fitch now the interim head coach, as Vanderbilt has a coaching search going on that we will discuss later in this broadcast. Vandy has never had a winless season before. You would think, given they play Georgia next week, this is their shot, and suddenly they're down 18. Henry Brooks, best run of the game, and he's past the 40-yard line.
That's the gateway play. You're in your 2-minute offense, inside of a minute taking of this possession. See if you can't pop a run, get near midfield, start taking a few shots.
Goes to the sideline. It's incomplete for Johnson.
You have to think, if you're Vanderbilt here in the first half, the missed opportunities that you had. You end up denying a red zone possession for Tennessee. You go the opposite direction. It results in a field goal. That was one of those possessions where you think, gosh, you come away with 7. That's a 14-point swing.
Seals under pressure. Somehow stays on his feet. It's a first down into Tennessee territory, but loses the football. And the Doors get it back with 17 seconds remaining. Let's see if Coach Fitch uses one of those timeouts.
Hustle play that time. Again. Yeah, getting downfield. Was flagged earlier for a pile pick. See, Seals does a great job of escaping Darrell Middleton. Gets upfield, gets past midfield. The ball squirts out right there towards the end. Not sure he wasn't already down, but Grant Miller does a great job hustling downfield, cover up that football.
Matthew Butler's made a couple of good plays today as the Tennessee defensive end, forcing the fumble there. Seals, a true freshman, beat out 3 others in the August/September Open quarterback competition and has gone all season. Mike Wright has played a little bit in relief of Seals and did so against Mizzou, but certainly have seen some improvement in Todd Fitch's offense as the season has gone along, and it will serve Seals well in future seasons. From the 45-yard line, 17 seconds left. Throws to the sideline and gets 5 or 6 more to Johnson with 14 seconds left.
Well, we've seen Pearson Cook earlier come in there, they hammer a field goal through the uprights. Keep chipping away at it. You got time for a couple more. See if you can't, obviously you want to get it in the end zone, but can you not chip away at the yardage needed at the very least to get a field goal attempt here at the end of half?
2nd and 5. Seals drifts back again. Incomplete to Abdur Rahman with 11 seconds left. Warren Burrell right there with him.
Warren Burrell, a guy that we thought we would see more of. Bryce Thompson obviously has been able to go. He's lined up in the slot at the top of your screen is number 0, along with Theo Jackson, and Burrell at the bottom of the screen.
Inside handoff to Henry Brooks. And he'll carry Volunteers with him with 3 seconds left. See if Vandy will take one last shot in the end zone as they call their 2nd timeout.
You can see again, they were just trying to squeak out a run, expecting the defense to play coverage. See if you can't get pass rushers upfield. Instead, they did a pretty good job to Tennessee of staying home. They send out the field goal unit.
Yep. Pearson Cook's long on the season is 41 yards. This will be a 54-yard attempt. And now Tennessee will call timeout. He did hit the crossbar in warm-up, Stinch, from this distance. All year, Vanderbilt has had issues kicking the football. Pearson Cook, Wes Farley, Javon Rice, all are active today after each were dealing with COVID issues, which is why Sarah Fuller was brought off the women's soccer team to kick 2 weeks ago and why she is still kicking extra points and short field goals. Riley Gay is in medical school at Vanderbilt, no longer on the team. Does have eligibility left, though, and would have kicked last week had the game happened in Athens. Now he's back in the medical school again since these guys are healthy. See if Cook has the leg to get it 54 yards. And that is wide right to end the first half. Well, we've seen a bunch of different people take snaps today for Tennessee at quarterback. It started with Harrison Bailey. He was a perfect 7 of 7, and then JT Shrout comes in and throws a couple of touchdown passes. The Vols are up 18 as we send you to Darionoka at halftime. Start for the Vols, but they come storming back with 21 unanswered points as we start the 3rd quarter. They lead 28-10. With Matt Stinchcomb and Don Davenport, I'm Taylor Zarzer. Stinch, we wondered which quarterbacks we would see today for Tennessee, and the answer has been yes. All of the above.
That's right. Even punters getting in on the passing attack with Paxton Brooks on the fake punt. But you can see Harrison Bailey started out well, and they're actually driving the football. For their 2nd red zone possession, ended up going the other direction on a fumble. You know, to me, the fact that they were able to get the ball outside, Bayless Jones able to get on the action. Princeton Fant got his first touchdown catch as a Vol, and then JT Shrout enters the lineup and is able to find Jones along the boundary. Does a great job athletically, acrobatic catch, gets in the end zone. And they were able to finish that half off really strongly, and a lot of it was a function of establishing excellent field position. Credit the ball defense, not only getting in the end zone themselves, but getting the ball back for their own offense with about a 50-yard field to play on.
We saw Shrout taking notes over there on the sidelines. We'll see which Volunteer quarterback comes out for the 2nd half. Bailey started the game and was 7 for 7. Shrout came in with those 2 touchdown passes. Brian Maurer ran one for 22 yards. And like Stinch told you, Paxton Brooks threw a fake punt for a 1st down. It's fielded by Valus Jones from the 7. Will get just near the 30-yard line. Now the lead's 28-10, but the 2nd half, especially the 3rd quarter, has been an absolute disaster for Tennessee during this 6-game losing streak. They've been outscored 78-7 in the 3rd quarter, 122-26 in the 2nd half.
Yeah, you see that during the losing streak, they just don't come out of the locker room playing very good football. And it's not only the difficulties they've had on offense, establishing scoring drives, but ceding points to their opponents here in this third quarter.
So it's Bailey again, play action, down the field, wide open, and it's Jalen Hyatt. Bailey remains perfect on this 28-yard strike.
Well, Vanderbilt knew whenever they had Jalen Hyatt in the slot, it's a concern. It's a matchup issue for them, obviously a shorthanded defense, but we've already seen demonstrated, one on a touchdown catch, and now here to open up the second half, how dangerous he can be.
Soft coverage, and it's a 9-yard completion to Palmer. The wide receiver issue has been significant this season for Tennessee, losing Juwan Jennings and Marquez Callaway to graduation. Domwood Anderson was a serviceable tight end. They have had the hardest time finding a big-time receiver. Maybe Hyatt is that next guy. 5 catches, 81 yards, and a touchdown today. And breaking free is Ty Chandler. First down in the red zone.
We talk about the third down woes. Tennessee, they're not looking to repeat that. Not here tonight. And they came out throwing haymakers here in the third quarter. The Commodore defense very much on its heels as the Vols are driving early.
Tosses it to Chandler, and Ty picks up 5. You know, going back to those receivers, Stench, that guy that just carried the football leads the team in receptions this season.
Yeah, the idea that they have had to have other players step up. And you think about like an Eric Gray with 29 catches coming into this game. Ty Chandler obviously contributing at running back as well as a receiver. And knowing that, you know, a guy like a Josh Palmer, as you see Alan George being attended to by the Vanderbilt training staff. You know, Palmer accepting an invitation to the Senior Bowl. Bayless Jones, a guy, senior, won't be able to contribute again next year, but you think about the Jalen Hyatts and the Jimmy Holidays who did not make the trip. They've got youth, especially at wide receiver. The problem is that doesn't help you as much this year. And you have to project to a future opportunity for those guys. A true freshman in Cooper Mays right there in that shot. He and Hyatt both that are having to contribute here tonight.
Alan George looks like he's going to be okay. He proposed to his girlfriend, Caitlin, a cheerleader at Vanderbilt, on this field in September.
Kind of came in low on that tackle. I almost wonder if he got a knee or a hip to the head. It's not always those helmet-to-helmet shots. A lot of times guys get kicked or kneed, and that's when you kind of get your eggs scrambled a little bit.
And you're right, Chandler was in, of course, the last 2 plays. Gray leads the team in receptions out of the backfield, and Princeton Fant wasn't on the same page with Mr. Bailey there.
False start, number 58, offense. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
New faces on that offensive front. Already seen Cooper Mays had what was effectively a snap infraction earlier. As you can see, Jeremy Pruitt kind of conferring with his quarterbacks coach, Chris Winkie. And here's the true freshman in Mays, younger brother of Cade Mays, was incapable of playing here tonight at the right guard spot.
Chandler to the end zone, touchdown. Easiest 20-yard run you'll ever see from the guy that went to high school down the street at MBA.
Really well blocked up front by the Tennessee offensive line and tight ends. The counter play, Trey Smith comes across the formation. Princeton Fant, elite blocker. And as you mentioned, Ty Chandler made that look easy. That was a foot race to the pylon. He got a clean entry into the line of scrimmage, and that's 8 plays of 20 yards or more for the Tennessee offense. That's a season high. Up until then, it was 6 was the most they'd had, both of those in their victories, South Carolina and Missouri. Those explosive plays have returned.
5 plays, 72 yards in just over 2 minutes. Another injury. This is Ethan Barr, the true freshman from Flower Mound, Texas. Coach Ted Roof raves about his work ethic. Texts Coach Roof every day saying, what time can I come by to watch film?
A kid that's committed to his craft, no doubt, and anticipated having to wait his turn to be able to play, and the kind of season that it's been for Vanderbilt. Forced into service, and as we mentioned, only 18 scholarship players available for this Vanderbilt defense. They can ill afford to see anybody go down, especially early here in the second half.
Very difficult position for the Vandy to be in. Another Tennessee touchdown. Ethan Barr looks like he's okay after being injured on the last play. And Tennessee will look to increase their lead with this Toby Wilson extra point after the Ty Chandler touchdown. Brent Zamaglia opted out this week due to injuries. He had made 88 straight extra points before his first career miss in Neyland Stadium last week against the Gators. So Brentwood High School's Toby Wilson gets to make his debut just down the street from where he grew up. And he's been a perfect 5 for 5. Let's go to the field and Don Davenport.
Well, guys, I talked to Todd Fitch. Wasted opportunities. Those are the words he used when talking to his team at the half. He said he felt like his true freshman quarterback, Ken Seals, was a little jittery early on in this game. He told him at the half that he needed to settle down, settle in, not try to do too much. Now, they were I think 3 of 12 on third down in that first half, and he said that's because they weren't successful on first down. They really have to help a very thin defense out. He was happy with how his defense played, but he said offensively they've got to help them out this second half. Get this to the fourth quarter and give themselves a chance.
Great report, Dawn. I know something that you always talk about on your successful sports talk show in Nashville is what Vandy will do next at the head coaching position, which we'll get into here in just a moment. Derek Mason relieved of his duties 13 days ago after the Missouri loss. Coach Fitch making his debut as the interim head coach today, and will coach again next week in Athens against the Georgia Bulldogs. But what will happen after that? He will become the next head coach of the Vanderbilt Commodores. Will Healy, the Charlotte 49ers head coach, has ties to the area. He was at Austin Peay. We'll get to him in just a moment. First, Jamie Chadwell at Coastal Carolina has been sought after given the success he's had in Conway this year. What about Hugh Freeze at Liberty, ties to the SEC, and of course lived in Memphis coaching in high school there for quite some time before going on to Ole Miss. Luke Fickell at Cincinnati has an undefeated season. We mentioned Will Healy. Ken Seals throws a strike, and a first down catch is made for the Commodores. It's a 14-yard completion. We'll see who made that catch. That's Abdur Rahman. There's Will Healy, leading the 49ers to the first bowl game last season. They've had all kinds of issues getting games played this year. And Clark Lee, who played at Vandy Stinch, now the Notre Dame defensive coordinator.
It's some former players that have endorsed his candidacy as, wow, another negative yardage play. That time, Quavaris Crouch able to get upfield quickly and get a tackle for loss. It's interesting, it's always interesting to see the former players that are now engaging publicly, at least via Twitter and others, to endorse certain coaches. Clark Lee has garnered more than a few endorsements from former players that are familiar from him with his time there, and obviously being a Vanderbilt man.
Henry Brooks gets close to where the line of scrimmage was, and it'll be third down. Chris Williams said this about Clark Lee, that he is the guy. Former Vandy player and NFL offensive lineman saying that on another show on the same station that Dawn works for. We'll get her opinion here in just a moment on this 3rd and 10. Seals incomplete, trying to get it to Johnson. Dawn, what do you think? What are the locals saying?
Hey, well, talking to athletic director Candace Lee, she talked a lot about fit and how important that is for Vanderbilt. And I said, okay, when you talk fit, do you mean it has to be an energy kind of guy? It has to be an offensive kind of guy? And she said, fit for me is somebody who realizes the opportunity you have here. They look to upgrade facilities. They've said that there are announcements coming from that standpoint. So she said, when you look at fit, I want somebody to come in who realizes this opportunity and understands that we want to win here. That was coming from Candace Lee. So obviously they would love to make a hire before signing day. We'll see if that happens. We'll be back from here in Nashville right after this.
Semis in Pasadena and in the Big Easy on January 1st, and then down in Miami on January the 11th. I'm interested to see what the Aggies' path is. I would think that the Buckeyes would need to lose to Northwestern. Despite what you said, I believe the committee is going to say, you know what, they're good enough. Even though they only played 6 games, they're clearly one of the 4 best teams in the country, and they're going to put them in. So I would think that Northwestern would need to beat Ohio State, or Notre Dame's going to have to crush Clemson stench and beat them for a second time.
Right. And, there's a number of different extenuating circumstances that could shake out. I'm trying to decide if I'm insulted that you think the committee's not going to consult that graphic and where I put the teams to inform where they're going to rank these teams at the end of the year. Harrison Bailey is a perfect 12 for 12, incidentally, in this football game.
I think the committee will be, again, more taken aback by the 27-year-old photo. Gray doesn't get much there, and it will be second down. Anthony Orji just about an hour or 2 away from taking another exam. Just had his 12th tackle of the game.
Boy, has he been active. We've called him. I actually had a face mask penalty earlier. He's one of those guys, as you mentioned, got a lot on his mind. Got a quarter and a half yet to play a football, and then he's going to get ready for that final exam in computer engineering. Guy's got a lot going on.
2nd and 8. Nice throw. Catch made by the freshman Jimmy Callaway. Let's just get it back on there for a minute. You do have me beat by 6 months, by the way. 6 months in age, but certainly not in that photograph.
And about half a foot. Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, I get it. There's going to be some angry little elves out there about what I'm saying when it comes to Ohio State. It's a unique set of circumstances here in 2020.
Gray flips it back to Shrout. Shrout's in trouble, and Anthony Orji says, enough of this.
They sniffed that one out. They were too clever by half on this one. So you go direct snap to Eric Gray, flip it back to JT Shrout. Well played by Orji. Little disappointed that Paxton Brooks wasn't involved in any capacity on that play as well. Trying to think who else threw a forward pass in this game so far.
Ton of credit for Anthony, the sophomore from Rockwall, Texas. 13 tackles, 6 more than anyone else on the team. As Gray gets a chunk of those yards back, down to the 40 with another flag in. Did you ever take an exam the week of a game or near the same day as a game?
I can't remember. I know I certainly didn't take one in computer engineering.
Offside,
ever.
number 48 defense lined up in the neutral zone. 15-yard penalty from, 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay second down.
I was about to say, that's one heck of a neutral zone infraction. 15-yarder. It's getting more expensive here towards the end of the year. No, I can't think of a time. I mean, really, it's just so unique. And you think these coaches, Jeremy Pruitt talked about it this week, having to take his cell phone with him to practice. And why would that be? Well, it's because you're still recruiting and you're trying to push towards this early signing period, which incidentally did not move. That didn't migrate. In a season of changes, that did not. And it challenges, especially teams that are continuing to play regular season games. Both these teams with a game yet to play after this one.
Bailey under duress gets out of there and still running. Pushed out at the 21-yard line by Brendan Harris.
Nowhere to go with the football initially. Ends up getting flushed out of the pocket. Does a great job just tucking and running. Plenty of green grass, took advantage of it.
Illegal block in the back, number 58 offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay second down.
All for naught.
Number 58's helmet came off during the play. He must remain out of the game for one play.
Negates a 27-yard run for Bailey, who is in negative yardage on the season, minus 19 yards rushing.
I don't know. The flag came out, negated the run. That was a tough angle. Did not look like a block in the back.
2nd and 18, and Gray spins and stays on his feet. Set up 3rd and manageable. You know who else had an exam today, Stench? Sarah Fuller. She had one this morning. If you're just joining us, she kicked an extra point and is the first female at the Power 5 level to ever do so. So it's been a busy day for her, along with many other teammates in the classroom and on the football field. There's Sarah.
They're on the bike, staying loose, expecting another opportunity here in the second half.
This is the 12th play of the drive on this 3rd and 5 for the Volunteers. And Gray gets the first down near the 25. Another piece of laundry on the field.
You think Indiana gets a crack at the Rose Bowl?
Illegal block in the back, number 13 offense. 10-yard penalty from spot of the foul. Replay 3rd down.
Boy, I would love to see that. So it's Malachi Whiteman, the true freshman. If you got somebody's back to you, you can't touch him. Any little push negates that play. But yes, I would love to see Indiana get a chance to play in a New Year's Six bowl game this season. Of course, the Rose Bowl is hosting one of the semifinal games, but I would imagine the Hoosiers would be all fired up to play in that. That locker room scene after the Indiana wins this year is what's best about college football.
Isn't it, though? Yeah, it's one of those things where a coach that instills a culture and a program that didn't have a ton to point towards prior to that. Boy, have they exceeded expectations.
And it's incomplete as they're looking for Weidman. Judy Lawley in coverage, it'll set up 4th down. Well, speaking of Indiana, Tennessee beat the Hoosiers in the Tax-Slayer Bowl at the beginning of this year. Feels like decades ago.
It really does. It seems as if that was in an entirely separate season from the one that we're trying to get completed now.
Vols will go for it on 4th down. They faked the punt earlier in the game, so they're 1 for 1. need to get to the 33. Bailey under pressure. Stays on his feet, but incomplete. And it's a turnover on downs. Vandy somehow gets the football back, needing points. Trojans leading the Chanticleers. Keep us posted on that, Dari. 1st and 10. Ken Seals underneath throw as Vandy tries to get something going on offense, and Cam Johnson is right near a first down. Take a look at the Mercedes road to the championship. Alabama and Florida have been phenomenal offensively all season long. We'll take another look at that in just a moment. Seals throws it down the field into heavy traffic. He wanted Pierce, who was covered up. So the Tide actually has a little bit of an advantage over Florida, who's been terrific offensively, although the Gators are throwing for more passing yards, and Trask has found Mr. Pitts and company for more passing touchdowns, Stinch.
Look at those. I mean, 40 passing touchdowns. But when you look at it, Alabama, they've got the three-headed monster of Mac Jones, Devontae Smith, and Najee Harris. The run element of their offense is separate and apart from what Florida has been offensively this year. Take nothing away from their passing offense and what Kyle Trask has been able to put together, along with Kyle Pitts for the Gator O. But if you ever have to run the football, to balance things out, if nothing else, to challenge a defense, and Florida has not been able to demonstrate a level of consistency there in that element of their offense.
Alabama does not have the same kind of pass rush they typically have. See if they have an advantage, though, next week on 3rd and 9. The pressure has been on Seals all night. Vandy's just 3 of 14 on 3rd down. That was Morven Joseph, another true freshman for the Volunteers.
Another shot on the signal caller for Vanderbilt. And he's ended up on the ground at the end of a lot of plays tonight. Shakes it off, gets up yet again. Well, it's a difference. At the beginning of the game, he did a great job shaking those off, staring down some of the pressure and delivering strikes, and it's definitely starting to take a toll.
Joseph is one of 19 true freshmen that Jeremy Pruitt has played this season. And that goes out of bounds. All right, Dari, let's see what's going on there with the Chanticleers and the Trojans.
Yeah, guys, just showed you Troy take the lead on undefeated Coastal. 45 seconds later, this happens. Grayson McCall to Javon Hiley, and Coastal takes the lead back, so they're up 4, just under 30 seconds to go. Troy football, guys.
How about the last 2 weeks for Jamie Chadwell's team? All the way to the finish. It's been thrilling. See if they can hold on. Still have an outside chance to get to a New Year's Six game if they win next week, combined with a Cincinnati loss to Tulsa. The Chanticleers would go to a New Year's Six game. Unbelievable. Eric Gray doesn't get much.
Yeah, it's unreal. I mean, it really is. And what a fun team to watch. Coastal Carolina, that offense is a gas. And you have to think Jamie Chadwell, that name is going to bounce around. Obviously, Shane Beamer already being tabbed as the next head coach of South Carolina. But as other jobs open, including the one that's currently available in Nashville at Vanderbilt, you have to think coaches like Jamie Chadwell, others, and we documented them earlier, they're going to warrant a lot of attention in some of these openings.
On 2nd and 9, Bailey, play action down the field and overshoots his intended target, the receiver Cedric Tillman, who had a step on the defender.
That's the downfield passing that the coaches talked about a little bit, that Harrison Bailey has to improve upon. They mentioned, if there were an area of distinction, Bailey does a better job protecting the football. JT Shrout is more threatening in the downfield passing game. Started out hot, 13 of 13 over the last 3.
Bailey on 3rd and 9 from a muddy pocket's got no place to go. Hog-tied by Nate Clifton. First sack of the year.
Jeremy Pruitt kind of alluded to this. Harrison Bailey was holding the football a little bit. At this point, at some point, you've got to think unload. Get the ball out of there. As it is right now, you see Cooper Mays just late on the retrace, ends up getting bulled by Drew Birchmeyer. That's offensive lineman on offensive lineman crime right there. Birch was at right guard earlier this season. He's just boloing the true freshman right in the lap of his quarterback.
Birchmeyer tried like a reverse dunk tackle there.
Yeah, he did.
Came up empty.
It's a Statue of Liberty.
Clifton finishes him off. Of course, Dio Dangbo is out, opted out. Vandy's best pass rusher, and Clifton and Birchmeyer pressed into action. Todd Fitch's squad trying to get something done before the end of this game. They had a 10-7 lead and had the momentum for an untimely pick six from Ken Seals into the hands of Bryce Thompson. Since that moment, 3 punts, a missed field goal, and a couple more punts in the second half.
No doubt that was the turning point. They've been able to stage a drive, stymied their own, got their own stop there in the red zone, turned the ball away, ended up kicking a field goal, pick six, and they have not been able to stem the tide.
Brooks handles a bad snap. It's another good punt away. Fair caught near the 32-yard line. History made earlier today by Sarah Fuller. First female to ever score a point at the Power 5 level. The first extra point of the game for Vandy. Gets the game ball, high fives, and pats from a bunch of different teammates. Sure, they'll be talking about that tonight on SEC Football Final with Dari, Chris Doring, and Roman Harper as they break down all the action from this weekend. It's right here on SEC Network and the ESPN app. Seals throws underneath to his tight end, Ben Bresnahan. We have not called his name all night. To'o all over him.
To'o after last year, he knew that he was going to be a difference maker for Tennessee defensively. And man, has he proven to have a fantastic campaign again this season.
Rocco Griffin gets a handful at the end of the third quarter as Vanderbilt tries to score some points here as they start the fourth on a beautiful night for football in Nashville, Tennessee. Vols trying to end a 6-game losing streak. You know, inside that scoring summary, there was actually a Vanderbilt lead at the start of the second quarter. It was 10-7 Vandy. They had the momentum. They had scored 10 straight points. Then an untimely pick six when there could have been a flag called on Bryce Thompson. Instead, he picks it off, goes to the end zone, and it has been all Vols ever since. So 3rd and 1 under center. Rocco Griffin puts his head down, but he's right at the marker. Karat Garland was there to stop him. Still no signal. Looks like fourth. Looks short.
Yeah, he looked short. As he slammed it up into the line of scrimmage, it wasn't like there was a ton of momentum shortly thereafter. Garland did a good job getting him down quickly.
We need half a yard. On 4th and 1, Vols are all over Griffin, but it looks like he moves the line of scrimmage for the first down. Vandy is 2 for 2 on that down tonight.
Nice push that time at right guard. actually able to get a little bit of forward momentum for Griffin. And the coaches are high on him. I love what they've gotten out of that true freshman running back. Gets behind his pads, has a nice leg drive, demonstrated it there.
They're high on that right guard that you mentioned too. Ben Cox, the true freshman. Abdur Rahman catches the slant. Near another first. For more on Rocco, let's go down to Dawn.
Yeah, had a coach tell me it reminds him of former Dora, now Tampa Bay Buck, back Keyshawn Vaughn. But get this, in high school in Savannah, produced 2,000 total yards, never fumbled the football. How about that? And I hear he's a quiet guy off the field. He was on his high school chess team, guys. List that as one of his hobbies. So what's the saying? We're all playing checkers. Rocco's playing chess.
That's right.
That's just short there.
Not a combo you hear very often, that's for sure. Strategic thinker, to say the least, with excellent ball security.
Chess is the game. All the rage right now after everybody binge watched the Queen's Gambit a few weeks ago. See if they give it to Rocco again. And he never had a chance there. Coming around the edge to make the tackle is Crouch from the other side of the field, too.
Yeah, you said it. That play was dead in the water. Crouch came shooting from the backside, able to get on the legs of Griffin early. Really just jumped on his back, had no chance. Hadn't even made it to the line of scrimmage before he had contact.
Pistol set for Seals on 4th down. He looks over at Coach Fitch, and now they're going to talk about it.
After watching Queen's Gambit, chess seems even more impossible.
Boy, you said it. No chance. I'm a checkers man. Back in just a moment in Nash Vegas. All right, Matt Stinchcomb, call me up a play here on 4th and 2 for Ken Seals to move the chains.
Let's see, circus, fun pass, 7-step drop, go for all the marbles. Why not? Look at him.
I think that whatever the circus screen
might have been right
was, I think that Cam Johnson might have been the intended target.
Well, you know my theory on it. The receiver jumping early, it's because they're awful eager to get out there in the route. Doesn't change anything. Todd Fitch and the doors out there on offense.
Seals gets rid of it quickly, but incomplete to Pierce. No flag comes in. Key Lawrence there in coverage. Another freshman, this one from Innsworth High School in Nashville.
Yeah, well defended. Tennessee talked about it. Jeremy Pruitt even, as you see Chris Pierce kind of lobbying at the end. He mentioned his secondary. He's played relatively well, but they've given up critical plays, critical errors. Tonight, they've given up a couple of big plays, but otherwise, defense has done an excellent job outside of the yards they hemorrhaged in the second quarter.
Trout facing some pressure, throws a pick. Coming back the other way is Judy Lolly. He's had a heck of a game and gives the Doors the football right back. Just the second interception of the season for the Commodore defense.
Well, you said it. Judy Lolly has had a heck of a night. He's been active all night. Jumps that route. And this is the concern that the coaching staff has with JT Shrout. As you see there, 2 defenders in the area. Judy Lolly was not the primary defender in coverage. You got a tackle for loss and now a pick to go along with his other 2 tackles. A little bit of life for the Commodores here in the 4th quarter.
Handoff to Henry Brooks, looting all those Tennessee defenders, but a flag is on the field.
75 offense, 10-yard penalty, replay first down.
Ben Cox. So that negates the run, and it'll be 1st and 20 for Vandy at the Tennessee 45-yard line. Now, we have seen history tonight with Sarah Fuller scoring the first point. There have been several other women to kick extra points at the group of 5 level as Seals throws it to the sideline. And fighting hard for anything there is the Vandy receiver, Bresnahan, as Crouch makes the tackle. But if Sarah Fuller were to make a field goal tonight, or to do it against Georgia next week, she would be the first ever to make a field goal at the FBS level. Katie Oneida and April Goss attempted extra points at the group of 5 level. Second and 19. Seals has to get rid of it quickly again, and Henry Brooks will get a couple, so it'll set up 3rd down. This pressure has just been constant.
Yeah, unrelenting all night long. Tennessee's done a great job. Even when they haven't brought extra blitzers, they've done a really good job of getting pressure. And we've mentioned it repeatedly. Vanderbilt came into the season shorthanded up front, and it's only continued to rotate along their offensive line.
Seals tried to fit one in there to Abdur Rahman, and it's incomplete. Alante Taylor, 2-on-2. And on 4th and 19, Ken Seals will head back to the sideline. It's been a miserable season for the Commodores. Just decimated by COVID issues, injuries, and most recently opt-outs. They've had more than 10 this year. Eric Gray still out there fielding these punts. Fields this one inside his 10, doesn't call for the fair catch, and makes it back to the 11-yard line. Pay tribute to a country music legend in just a moment. It's the Country Music Hall of Fame. And down on Music Row, they're sad tonight as one of the greatest of all time passed away earlier today. At the age of 86, Charlie Pride had more than 24 #1 hits. He was the Country Music Association Entertainer of the Year in 1971. He was as big a star in this town as anyone in the 1970s. Just recently, a few weeks ago, was honored by the CMA with the Lifetime Achievement Award. Country Music Hall of Famer, passing away at the age of 86. Just up the street, Vanderbilt Stadium, the Volunteers putting the finishing touches on this victory, in trying to end a 6-game losing streak. They'd won 8 consecutive games, Stinch. We called the South Carolina game to start the year. Then they convincingly defeated Mizzou. And the wheels have fallen off since.
Yeah, you could see it. You know, even in the opener, it was a good win. At the time, anyway, not much of a convincing win. Narrow victory, to say the least. And then they really ran the football very well the next week versus Missouri, and it just didn't develop into anything beyond that, especially offensively from an identity standpoint. Back to the Kentucky game for Tennessee and the turnovers, especially early on in that game. And to me, that was kind of the that was the tipping point for Tennessee offensively, because then it became apparent they were going to make a decision, or eventually going to need to make a decision away from Jarrett Garantano. Up until that point, they were pretty insistent that was their best opportunity to win football games. They just couldn't make great decisions with the ball consistently.
That one deflected at the line by Mintz. The sub fourth down. No question, you're right. The Kentucky game is when it all fell apart. Now, of course, a week before that, they're 2-0, leading Georgia in Athens at halftime. And you're thinking, all right, Tennessee's ready to compete to get to Atlanta.
Yep.
And then the second half, the Dogs shut them out. Absolutely didn't have it against Kentucky. A couple pick sixes thrown by Garantano in that game, and thrown out by Alabama, lost at Arkansas, lost at Auburn, and lost to the Gators last week, but have been in charge of this one since early in the second quarter. This could be a roughing the kicker penalty. There's a flag down. So that'll be running
into the kicker, number 24 defense. Penalties decline, first down.
So Vandy avoids the personal foul, and they'll get the football back with 8:43 to go here in Nashville on a beautiful December night. Coming up in half an hour, we got more college football here on SEC Network. Auburn and Mississippi State for the 94th time. Teams have split the last 8. Will Rogers has thrown 5 touchdown passes in his last 3, true freshman quarterback for State. Bo Nix last year was terrific. He needs a good game. Last couple weeks have been rough for Gus Malzahn and the Auburn Tigers, who have fallen to 5-4 on the season, and they're losing Starkville tonight. Even more critics will be yelling at Gus. Seals has been facing heavy duress all night. That's incomplete in front of him to Henry Brooks. Now, Gus has a massive buyout, but I still think people wonder, Stench, if he'll be back with the Tigers next season.
That's almost like an annual question. Seems like it just kind of hangs out there. Any years where they don't find a way to beat the Tide, which is not infrequent when you think about it, especially relative to the rest of this conference. It's a coach that's had some modicum of success versus Alabama.
Henry Brooks takes off. One of his better runs of the night. He's over 50 yards rushing now on the game after that 16-yard run. Commodores have only run for 50 yards total in the game. A little trickeration. Seals down the field, incomplete. He's almost picked off as a flag comes in. That was Trayvon Flowers.
No pass is incomplete. Flags on the play.
It's Tyler Steen called for holding there. What do you think, Stench, is the most important thing that next Vandy coach needs to do with this program?
Well, what Dawn said earlier was interesting. And they're talking about some imminent announcements about the facilities. I would be fascinated to know what those are, because there is no doubt that Vanderbilt experiences a distinct disadvantage in that regard. You make arguments about the academic opportunity. No doubt a fantastic institution in that capacity.
Good catch down the field made by Bresnahan.
However, the commitment to the program, football specifically, going forward, it would be important, were I to be a candidate, and whoever is considering it, to have a very clear understanding of what that looks like. It's more than just accepting a job. But you also being charged with trying to bring improvement and some level of consistent competitiveness to this football program, something that they've not seen really since James Franklin was able to take over for Bobby Johnson and win games with Bobby Johnson's players.
We might have a roughing the passer call here. Yeah, talking about maybe their favorite Nashville eateries.
There are 2 fouls on the play, both on the defense. Substitution infraction. Defense, the 12th player did not get off the field before the snap. That penalty is declined. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. On the defense, 15-yard penalty added to the end of the run. First down.
Ken Seals has taken some shots all night, and that's long after the handoff. Andre Johnson coming in there with taking a free shot on the quarterback. It's ill-advised. You got a couple of officials there in the offensive backfield.
So we'll see if this is a targeting penalty. We're going to take a look at this now. We were talking about the coaching situation. Let's bring Dawn back in on this. I don't think there's any question that Stench is correct on that facilities need a significant upgrade, and that's encouraging to hear that's part of the plan.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Vanderbilt fans will say, okay, we've heard that before. That's been a part of the plan before, but it certainly feels different just in talking to people around Vanderbilt this time. And part of it is, you know, they have a new chancellor, Daniel Diermeyer, worked at Stanford, worked at Northwestern, knows how to marry academics and athletics, and talked this week. He said he would love to invest in facilities for the student athletes so that they can compete, you know, and they can compete at the highest level. So he's publicly said that. It certainly feels different right now, and I do think an announcement on facilities will probably come shortly. With hiring a new coach, I think maybe they might want some input from that coach on exactly what they want to do facility-wise.
It's really good to hear. There's a lot of parallels to Northwestern given their academic prowess. I'm not suggesting Vandy's going to start going to the conference championship game as often as Pat Fitzgerald's team is, but that spaceship on the water that they have for a football facility has made a massive difference in recruiting. Meanwhile, you saw the replay. DeAndre Johnson certainly looked like he launched at Ken Seals. And this should give Vanderbilt the ball inside the 20-yard line at the 16.
After further review, there is no foul for targeting. 15-yard penalty is still enforced. First down.
All right, well, the ball still is at the 16 for the late hit. But targeting is not called on DeAndre Johnson.
A little surprised, actually. I shouldn't be surprised, but I'm surprised because it did look as if he would have met the qualifications of targeting. As it is, first and 10 snap and within field goal range for the Commodores.
Yes, they are. Very close to Sarah Fuller's range, too. Seals. That's caught. Touchdown. Somehow that's fit into Bresnahan for his 4th touchdown of the season.
Doors in there still slinging it. How did that ball make it through Crouch's arms? Wow. He had it in his hands, ends up in Bresnahan's.
Sarah Fuller already made history, becoming the first female to connect on an extra point at the Power 5 and SEC level. She's got 2 of them. In a season filled with adversity, This is what Vanderbilt fans can smile about. 7:22 to go. On a day that the great Charlie Pride passed away, we have other trailblazers to celebrate. Sarah Fuller, first woman to play in the Power 5 with a couple extra points today. And Jackson He is the first Chinese-born player in the FBS. Took Arizona Wildcats with him into the end zone last night as the Sun Devils beat Arizona 70-7. Jackson has his Chinese last name on his jersey in the Chinese letters, which is pretty cool. Tennessee gets it back with 7:20 to go in the game. Good work by Sarah Fuller tonight. We'll see if she gets another opportunity, maybe an opportunity to become the first female to make a field goal in a college football game. I do want to recognize Toby Wilson. He's made 5 extra points tonight for Tennessee in his collegiate debut. And Stinch, I know how big of a rivalry this is between Brentwood Academy and Brentwood High School. Toby went to Brentwood Academy, not Brentwood High School. Across the middle, nice pass by Bailey, and look at this. Valus Jones bounces off of Vandy defenders. House call.
Another explosive play for Tennessee in this game. And he just kind of weathers the storm. Here comes a couple of shots. Nobody wraps up. Valus Jones sprints his way to the end zone. Not many are going to catch him.
It's the longest play of the season. And here's Mr. Wilson. Former BA kicker, now kicking for UT, a perfect 6 for 6 tonight. What a game tonight by Valus Jones. 74-yard touchdown reception, his second of the night. The senior from Saraland, Alabama, having one of his best performances in all of college football. He starred at USC. He still is one of the best active kick returners in the game. Had a couple of touchdowns out there for the Trojans. Telling Jared Garantano all about it.
And we're at Saraland, Alabama is close to what major Alabama city?
As we mentioned earlier, Stitch, it's just about 10 miles north of one of the greatest cities in America, Mobile, Alabama. T. Martin country.
It's Taylor Zarger country, I believe.
Yes, it is, and congratulations to Valus's teammate, Josh Palmer. He's headed to the Senior Bowl down there in Mobile next month. So the Doors get it at the 25-yard line with 7:03 to go in the football game. A couple other games to talk about tonight. We mentioned Auburn playing Mississippi State. We talked about this 2 weeks ago as we had LSU when they played the Arkansas Razorbacks. LSU, who is 3-5 on the season, is playing at the Florida Gators. That game just starting up. It's a team that blew everybody away last year in their 15 victories. Just crazy to see the turnover and the adversity they're facing as they're a massive underdog against the Gators tonight.
Yeah, that's a program on the brink. I mean, you look at LSU and you talk about 180 degrees. I don't know that it's unprecedented. There have been times where teams have won national title games and then regressed the next year. But this is an outright collapse. And you know, the pressure's on LSU in that game, there's no doubt. This is a polished game for Florida, or should be. where they need to work on and embellish elements of their game in preparation for the title game. But for LSU, they're going to have to demonstrate that this is a program that's on sound footing. Otherwise, with the level of turnover and adversity that they have experienced this season, you'd have to wonder, going forward, how stable is that program? You got guys opting out, guys wanting to enter the transfer portal. Does not bode well as far as a forward trajectory is concerned for the quote-unquote defending national champions.
Crimson Tide humiliated LSU last weekend, and you can bet the Gators are going to score as many points as they can tonight. No unnecessary roughness called as Jaden Harrison makes the catch. It's 4th and 5. Bryce Thompson throwing him down to the ground. Yeah, Gators need style points. Punt for Harrison Smith. Man, this is a cannon.
Wow.
Fielded just around the 10-yard line. 57-yard punt. Let's take a look at the All-State Protection Spotlight.
Well, we talked about Harrison Bailey. Boy, did he start out rocking and rolling. JT Shrout got in on the action. Bayless Jones, who we just saw in the end zone. There's Jalen Hyatt out of the slot, finds his way. Pay dirt as well. And of course, Harrison Bailey back in there now. It's kind of revolving door of choice at quarterback tonight for Tennessee.
They haven't needed Eric Gray as much as they did last year when he ran for 246 yards. Bailey started 9 for 9, over 200 yards passing tonight. Shrout, who's thrown a couple of good balls down the field for 2 touchdowns, did make the mistake throwing a pick last quarter, and probably one of the reasons why you're seeing Bailey finish this game.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, that seems to be kind of the catalyst. We saw Bailey earlier in the first half with the fumble in the pocket, stripped from behind, and next thing you know, it was JT Shrout's game for a bit.
You would think Jim Chaney, the offensive coordinator, is going to keep feeding the tailbacks to take away all of the time left in this one. Tennessee will improve to 3-6, ending that 6-game losing streak. They play Texas A&M next Saturday at noon. And the Vanderbilt Commodores also at noon finish their season in Athens, Georgia on Senior Day. Dogs roughed up the Missouri Tigers in Como to improve to 7-2.
They look like a different team, don't they, offensively? Kind of wondered if it was wasn't the clearest picture. You face a Mississippi State team that could barely get the numbers to get on the field, and then South Carolina in an interim status ran the football well in that game, but Missouri was put together and had been playing some pretty good football. As you see, Missouri Tigers taking on Mississippi State to finish the season out, and A&M sitting there at number 5, and they get to tangle with the Vols. Had them scheduled from a couple of weeks ago. Some compelling games, really. Ole Miss and LSU, considering the bookends of the season. LSU opening up versus Mississippi State and finishing versus the Rebels.
Small again with wide open space in front of him, and Jabari's into Vanderbilt territory. Back to what you said about Georgia, the big difference, Stinch, is they have a quarterback. JT Daniels has looked so good in control of that offense. And you know, I just never could understand the criticism that Stetson Bennett was facing earlier in the season. He's a walk-on. And that's what you're going to get when you put a walk-on on the field. Did his best, but JT Daniels' talent can't be denied. And if he's back next season in Athens, Georgia's back in national championship conversations.
And they didn't hurt that they got healthy at wide receiver as JT Daniels got inserted into the lineup. Some young guys able to grow up. Jermaine Burton, a true freshman. You know, all that stuff kind of came together at just the right time, and there's no doubt that offensively Georgia's a different team with JT Daniels in there.
D. Beckwith was 21 last week. He's 34 this week. True freshman from Florence, Alabama, made his debut against the Gators and has a first down run. Tennessee approaching 200 yards rushing on the night. Vols will improve to 77-32 against Vandy. A series that Vandy's had the upper hand in the last handful of years. They won 3 in a row before Tennessee got them last year.
Holding, number 76, offense. 10-yard penalty, replay first down.
I think it's important, Stinch, that next week Jeremy Pruitt and his Volunteers are competitive against the Aggies. While it's nice to get that losing streak over with, imagine how restless Volunteer fans are going to be if this season finishes at 3-7.
That's what they're staring at. It's going to be obviously an incredibly tall task. Given the way A&M has played, you know, even their last time out, if you watch that game, up front especially, the Aggies are capable of dominance. One of the better offensive lines in the country when they're playing well.
Big run for Beckwith, and he's inside the 30. Well, look at the first 3 seasons. Rich Jones taking over for Derek Dooley was 21-17, 1 game better in the Southeastern Conference. Pruitt taking over for Butch, 15-18. 5 less games, but already 1 more loss.
And you think about last year and the way things started, pretty rocky to say the least, finished out strong. Started out okay this season with the 2 victories, obviously, and then the balance of it, it's been tough sledding. There's no other way to describe it. Head coaching staff changes. Defensive line coach dismissed. Jeremy Pruitt taking over those duties. Quarterbacks that have continued to have to reestablish itself from a personnel standpoint. And offensively, even Jeremy Pruitt allowed, just never established an identity on that side of the football. And it's proven to be a challenge, there's no doubt, especially when you look at the numbers from a comparative standpoint.
Solid quarterback play tonight for the Vols, especially from Harrison Bailey. Good performance on the ground with over 200 yards rushing. Velus Jones had a couple of touchdown catches. Bryce Thompson with a pick 6. Tennessee defense was in Ken Seal's face all night long. Meanwhile, congratulations to Sarah Fuller, making more history tonight with her 2 extra points. It's a 42-17 victory for the Volunteers, improving to 3-6. Vanderbilt falls to 0-9. For Matt Stinchcomb and Dawn Davenport, Tom Schofield, our entire crew in Nashville, I'm Taylor Zarzer. Auburn and Mississippi State is coming up at the bottom of the hour. But for now, we'll send you back to Dari Noka in our SEC Network studios.
All right, TZ, Stitch, thank you much. It's time for